Today it's time for a best of 3 series of top level StarCraft 2. It's time for a Protoss versus Zerg between the highest ranked players from the European server. I mean, at this point in time, we don't really have Serral playing a lot of ladder games. We're looking at none other than Reynor's main hatch and his opponent in the upper left. Playing in red, we have MaxPax. These guys are, of course, on absolute fire lately. They have been playing some phenomenal StarCraft. So let's see what happens when they go up against one another. The map is 10,000 feet for the beginning of this series. A very nice map. A very, macro-focused map in general. A lot of variety, too. Reynor could opt to take this base out front here instead of the natural, I guess. He decides to go for the one. Okay, that is horizontal to his main base instead. I always find it quite funny to look at the player portraits when they are loading into the game. Reynor apparently playing with the Serral portrait. Not exactly sure why. He's got Reynor portraits of his own, like he could play with his own face. Feels like actually for most of the pro players out there that have their own face in the game, most of them don't play with their own face. Serral apparently, or Reynor rather, picking Serral's face to represent on the loading screen. MaxPax using the Brood War Zerg icon. I don't know why. You know what I recently learned? This actually absolutely blew my mind. So recently at a StarCraft 2 tournament, I believe it's called Thunderfire, a $50,000 event, they had some first-person views of the players, right? Meaning that you could like see the players and their monitors and hear what they were listening to and all the rest of it, right? It turns out, and I don't even know why, Serral was playing with the Loco announcer. Now, I had a gigantic fanboy moment when I learned of this. Somebody linked a Loco, or a Twitch clip rather, of Serral playing with the Loco announcer. I was like, well, nobody ever seems to use the Loco announcer. I mean, I use it sometimes, but I think it's very cool. One of the absolute, nicest projects I ever got to work on. So in case you're unfamiliar, when you hit supply blocks in the game, or you need more minerals or whatever, you can play with the Loco announcer, and you will have me shouting at you instead. What I learned that day, and I don't know, maybe Serral switches every other day, I don't know, but apparently, at least for the tournament, Serral was playing with my voice. Yeah. Pretty neat. Most people actually play default. It seems like playing with the default announcer is the norm. One of my personal favorites is the Korean Abathur. Korean Abathur sounds absolutely badass. Highly recommend it. I really liked it. I played with it for several months. This was a bunch of years ago when Terran nukes weren't particularly popular. But at some point, Abathur, Korean Abathur, whispered a line in my headphones that I had never heard before. And it turns out that it means tactical nuke detected. Don't ask me how I found out. Anyways, Adepts shading around over here. MaxPax delaying the opponent's natural. Ooh, almost getting the wraparound right here is Reynor. Playing with fire, but MaxPax does actually survive. Get a good number of link kills as well because of it. We do have that Oracle already out. Oracle number 2 on the back of this as well. Natural expansion here for Reynor, eventually taken. Third Nexus is going to be coming up out front here for Max. None of that horizontal expansion stuff. Maybe this is actually the reason why I like 10,000 feet so much. It's just such a... I mean, normally in StarCraft, as we have the Adepts now committing... Okay, 1 kill. 2 kills. 3 kills is good. 2 kills is whatever. Yeah, not quite. But normally in StarCraft 2, you have like the triangle expansion or like the line expansion, right? So either it's like horizontal or vertical, or it's in like a triangle formation. This pattern over here for MaxPax is not something we see very often. So you have the triangle base on this map, as well as the line base. But then this, I guess, is the forward expansion. It's a... Yeah, it's like the knight, exactly. Normally we have like a bishop expansion. Or we have the rook expansion. This kind of feels like a knight. It's like one diagonal and on 4. It's funky. It's a little weird. But 10,000 feet is in general an excellent map and does create some some very interesting games. So far, the early game aggression here from MaxPax has been okay. 4 drones, actually, for 2 adepts is certainly not bad. He did take a bit of hull damage on, one of the oracles. Also, nothing all too terrible. Follow-up, though, is going to be extremely normal. It will be Blink together with +1. Reynor using this left side of the map right now to his advantage, though. Spreading the creep all over. Reynor getting some good... Wait, did I say MaxPax was spreading creep? I meant to say Reynor was spreading creep. MaxPax here really forced to move through the right side of the map mostly, it seems. And this does create some issues later on into the game. Because if this is going out of control, Reynor is going to be able to make his way to his opponent's third base quite easily. And it's much easier for Protoss to get rid of the creep tumors right now than it is later on. No +1 melee here for Reynor. Opting to go into a Hydra den here together with an Infestation Pit instead. So probably heading into Lurkers. Does mean, though, that we're still a ways off from that. So gonna give MaxPax a bunch of time here to go into the Templar Archives. Possibly get the Storm research going. You could also go into Charge and maybe build up some Archons if you wanted to. 4th Nexus could go down over here or on the other side. A lot of good choices here for Protoss at this point, but... you do need to be careful, because when the Lurkers hit the battlefield, they hit very hard. I don't think this hatchery is going to be that big of a... Do we have enough links for it? We have 27 of them. Queen's actually not that quite able to close the distance. Lings, in the meantime, trying to get rid of the tentacle rocks. Fair enough. A couple of stasis wards. MaxPax is playing with fire, but he always does this. He likes to go for the Stalker move out before Blink is even done. And it just feels so risky. Especially against Zergs, though, that have +1 melee early on. Those Links apparently not that big of a problem. Reynor right now will have seen, I think, that there is a Templar Archives. So Storm is already nearly finished. Lurker down on the back of this, as we have the Hive right now as well. About maybe... 40% or so of the way done. 4th Nexus in the meantime for Max, who's really playing this out expertly. You can oftentimes look at somebody like, for example, Hero and appreciate the chaos. You can look at somebody like Classic and maybe appreciate the late game Skytle's focus. But MaxPax is just so clinical. There's just not really any mistakes going on, right, for Max here. Like, is there... I mean, he hits the supply block now, of course, right as I say that. That's the caster curse. But generally speaking, MaxPax is pretty much flawless in his execution. Might need to make another pylon or two, man. Anyways, some additional Stargates, a fleet beacon, 2nd Robo Facility 2. This is MaxPax now saying, okay, I am going to be hands-off for a while. He will go for a move out, but the real threat is him transitioning to late game now. Reynor's got a real opportunity, with Lurkers especially, to deal some true damage before the Mothership, before the Tempest, before the mass robo production is done. The Lurkers are already coming. 5 Dropper Lords, okay, added into the mix as well. Reynor's been very fond lately of Dropper Lords, it seems. It's kind of awesome. Ooh, Revelation will indeed show exactly where those Lurkers are located. Gas is taken at the front lines as we have a Spire added into the mix. But where are those Dropper Lords? There they are. Okay. I think the plan is probably to go into the main base. It's a pretty quick line straight up north. Dropping units off, especially Lurkers in that spot, incredibly tough. Now, MaxPax knows that he is likely on the clock. He doesn't really know what it's going to be. Is it just going to be like a full frontal Lurker attack? Is it going to be like a Nidus Worm? Is it going to be Dropper Lords? The Zealots here are to buy time to get those Tempests out, and the Tempest will be out momentarily. We have an additional Stargate added into the mix. Reynor is still going to commit to the drop, but I feel like now it's been like a minute or so since these Overlords were morphed into Dropper Lords, and obviously that's not really that long when it comes to overall time, but it has been slowed down quite a bunch, If MaxPax can sniff out that the drops are coming, if he sees the drop alerts, he can easily snipe them before they ever get close to his main. Likewise, right now for Reynor, he is flying in the dark.
Swarm forces.
He's hoping here that he has not accidentally passed an observer or that he has not accidentally been seen. Looks like it's going to work out for him this time around. But we go from very calculated Zerg aggression here to him somewhat crossing his fingers and hoping he gets lucky. Multi-pronged aggression, though, which is kind of sick. Lurkers in the main base, lurkers over at the 4th base. How do you split your units against it, Max? Well, MaxPax is trying to just send the units in. Stalkers are lined up and take so much splash damage from his own Sim City. And just like that, the probe numbers go plummeting down. It's not even the end of it just yet. 4th Nexus will fall. Whoa. Okay, I was a little hesitant when he first went for the drop in the main base, but that was way more successful than I anticipated it. I think the push right here with the units over at the 3rd and the 4th base really distracted MaxPax enough. 42 probes. I mean, this is already so many losses. Now we have 19 Hydras on the back of this. We have a Spire, +1 air weapons is researching, but none of it is necessary. GG gets called. Reynor absolutely destroys MaxPax in game number 1. That game, it went from 0 to 100 real fast. MaxPax was just playing SimCity, dealing with traffic issues very clearly inside of the main base. Yet again, though, when Reynor starts, he does not stop. It's so fast and so frequently in so many places at once. It's dangerous. Now, it needs to be said, though, that MaxPax was only a really small duration away from that being very holdable, right? So he had just made big investments into the future. So he had just added on additional Stargates, motherships, we had the extra Robo, we had the extra Stargates, right? Like, he had a lot of resources tied up in things that were going to be useful like a half minute later. Now, Reynor was delayed by, I think, about probably a half minute or so. If MaxPax could have somehow, some way, I don't know, send in another Zealot run by or anything else along those lines, that game could have looked very different. I think that was also a good example, though, why sometimes your early pylons maybe don't matter that much. You just kind of plonk them down. Right? You just, I need a pylon. Bam. Put it right over there. Build a bunch of structures around it. Until the Stalkers line up in this choke point and there's lurkers behind it, right? Like, it's not something you usually consider in the early game. But it is something that can actually affect the outcome of the match. I think I saw like a dozen Stalkers disappear there in a second. Now we have a lot more Zerglings actually here for Reynor. He's looking to see if he can potentially snipe the opponent's 3rd. This is a very fast 3rd Nexus. Oracle cannot actually go across. This could be a disaster for MaxPax. So there's a big commitment here for Reynor, right? He cuts a lot of drones to get these Lings out. Oracle goes straight across. Second Oracle is about to spawn, but there is a little bit of time here for these units to kill the Nexus. I think you go for the Nexus. No, I don't think you go for the Adept. Second Oracle is available now. Adept, okay. I think he's still going to get the Nexus too. Yep. Disaster here for MaxPax. This is the downside of playing that very, stock standard approach. You become predictable. Reynor now is going to be powering out the workers. Oh no, if he gets a secondary kill, that would be massively problematic. MaxPax cutting a corner though, right? And that's the main issue, I guess, with Zergs making like, I don't know, 20 Zerglings or so at this point in time. If Protoss goes for like 3 gateway units and the 2nd gateway in the wall off, and then they take the 3rd, so they take like a 350 or so 3rd Nexus, then those 20 Zerglings are easily countered. And Zerg just ends up falling behind because they decided to take a choice. Or take a choice? Take a chance. Make a choice. Robo facility together with charge. Ah, okay. MaxPax taking a page out of Hero's book now. Oracles have not really achieved too much. Is Reynor going to skip out on the Roach Warren? No, he's already got one. He's been known to skip out on Roach Warrens lately. But thus far, does not seem to be a problem for him. I think this is going to be Archon Zealot. So Archon Zealot, big attack. Always a little bit scary, of course, but it is something that I think MaxPax can deal with. Or something he can execute here. The main issue, I guess, right, for Protoss here is that you don't really get a ton of control. Like, you make Archons, you make Zealots, and then you attack move, and you let Tassadar take the wheel. Well, last time Tassadar took the wheel, he steered the Ganthrothor into a collision course with the Overmind. Do you really want that guy driving your army? Well, sometimes it can be effective, and I guess he sacrificed himself for the greater good. But anyway, you get my point. Maybe letting Tassadar take the wheel is a dangerous play. Cheeky little Zergling run by yet again. Spire coming up, though, for Reynor, who's making roaches. He has seen that the opponent put down a Templar Archives. So he likely, yeah, he can assume here what the follow-up for Max is going to be. I think there's a perfect setup for Reynor. Plenty of units. Storm is coming up on the back of this. And all of this is just ever so slightly off for MaxPax. You can all trace this, or you can trace this back again to just the very first group of Zerglings delaying the third Nexus. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but now this push doesn't work, right? Like, now the economy is kind of shaky. What advantage do you have right now as Protoss? You don't really have much going for you. I mean, it's by no means game over. But against somebody like Reynor, you do need to grab any advantage you can get. And up to this point, I'm not loving it very much for Max. Yeah, this is why you don't let Tassadar take the wheel. Do you think he has a driver's license? I mean, do you need a driver's license to fly a spaceship? Do you think Protoss has got that regulated? I don't know. How hard is it anyways to fly a spaceship? Can't be that tough. I think I could do it. I watched an interview not too long ago about, like, what if the pilot on the plane would pass out? Do you think, given instructions, that you could land the plane? And apparently 80% of men say they probably can. I was thinking to myself, yeah, if somebody asked me, I mean, if I get good instructions, just tell me what buttons to press, tell me what I need to do. Yeah, probably, maybe, I don't know. How hard can it be to fly a spaceship, Tassadar? Jeez. Well, I guess he meant to. Anyways, fourth Nexus right now in a bunch of trouble here for Max. This is a weird combination of Zerg units. No cancel! 400 minerals down the drain. Yeah, it's not going well here for Max at all. This is a much worse situation than the previous game. And we all saw what happened at the end of the previous game. Here we go again. Reynor is going to try and see if he can get the wraparound. Mutas go around the site. Phoenix production has begun. Oracles are forgotten. Reynor's only at 80 workers, but I think that's plenty for this particular setup, right? I mean, he's going lurkers on the back of this as well. Okay, so he's actually slowing the game down enough. He's respecting Protoss to potentially still ruin his day. So going lurkers here as a safety precaution if, like, the Phoenix numbers... I mean, basically everything here that Protoss has is good against Mutas. Other than the Immortals, I suppose. But the Stalkers, the Archons, the Phoenixes, the High Templar... all of it is the counter to Mutas, so I think these Mutas are likely not going to do that much more. But obviously, lurkers are really good against all those units. Yeah, it's a lot of Mutas, actually. We do have... how many did die already? I think we have like 1,800, right? Like 1,800 minerals and gas. Actually, slightly less these days with the Spire being a bit cheaper, but... It is a significant amount of resources tied up in these little flippy flappies. Immediate cancel this time around on the 4th Nexus. A roach run by right over here. Reynor wants to get rid of the roaches at this point, but not for free. He wants to replace them with lurkers. Do you think Tassadar used the blinkers on his Ganthrothor? Like, do you think he at least indicated? I'm pretty sure he probably did. He just went in. Overmind had no idea. What kind of car do you think Tassadar would drive? What about Reynor? I feel like Reynor would probably drive like a BMW, but never use the blinkers, you know? He would never indicate where he was going. Swan? Swan is definitely a pickup truck kind of guy, right? But like a big one. Like a lifted F650 or whatever. Like a massive one. I feel like that would be Swan. Ooh. I don't even know what a 650 looks like. I've just heard of them. Big recall right here for MaxPax as he is forced to retreat. First time he saw the lurkers. Loads of aggression all over the map again. Those roaches, they've been trying to break open the natural expansion for ages, and they get the job done now. A little bit of a counterattack as well, though. Bunch of zealots putting in a bit of work. More damage, actually, than I expected them to do. Phoenixes do still have energy to remove the final set of roaches in the main base. But honestly, truth be told, the way that MaxPax is progressing here is not bad. I mean, if we zoom out, right? So we end up in a situation where Protoss does have nearly 4 base economy. Worker count is decent enough. He's going into Skytals. He's already got Storm done. +1 air weapons, +3 ground. None of this is the end of the world. And he's got a really nice attack lined up here, too. The immortal count is big, so it makes the lurkers actually killable. Storm, Archons, ooh, lifties, not too bad. Storm lasts such a long time these days, and it is now allowing MaxPax to like sort of zone his army in the direction of that hedge. Drones are falling, and MaxPax may have just done the impossible here. He's back in this. We have now got 4 base economy versus 4 base economy. Supply counts are looking scarily similar. I don't mind this spot very much anymore for MaxPax. All jokes aside, he is playing this out really nicely. It's a lot of chaos that those mutas and those roaches and those zerglings added to the game. But MaxPax has done a good enough job to keep the games rolling, right? To, yeah, still stabilize here. So, Mothership on the back of this. +2 air weapons added into the mix. That's going to open up the opportunity to go into carriers. At this point, Reynor does have a Spire, of course, done, so he can choose to go Corruptors, but he's not really going up against full Skytals yet, so at this point, I think it's fine for him to just go mostly Hydras for his anti-air. Here we go again, though. MaxPax trying to see if he can force his way up the ramp. Absolutely blanketing all of the units with Psionic Storms. What about the Lurker counterattack? Okay. Killing the 4th Nexus of Protoss right now is yet again disastrous. This is not a Protoss army that you can afford building on just 3 bases. Especially not 14 minutes in. Nexus is going to fall once more. Main base is pretty much empty. Natural is going to be running out. And with the super fast 3rd, I mean, it was delayed a few times, I suppose, but it's now also already running empty since it's been mining for almost 10 minutes. Still, MaxPax has this army that is just an absolute blunt force. He's just sending it around the map, hitting anything that can be hit. And Reynor is struggling against it. There's not really a go-to unit composition here for Zerg that just deals with this many Immortals really well. Not bad. Man, now in my head, I keep trying to think of StarCraft 2 characters and what sort of car they would drive. Donnie Vermillion. What would Donnie Vermillion... That one's difficult. Can't come up with one, man. This has been in my head for like the last 2 minutes while casting the rest of the game. Not good. Zeratul definitely has like an old school. Like Zeratul has a car from like the 70s. He's been driving it ever since he got it. Nice little attack here once more by Reynor. He knows he needs to keep this Protoss economy small. Next is on the right dice, but MaxPax did finish the one over here on the low ground. This hatchery seems to be misplaced for Reynor. But furthermore, it is extremely close to where the Protoss player lives. Nidus network right now on the back of this as well. Reynor trying to see if we can get that speed advantage once more to work in his favor. I don't think we're ever going to swap back to Mutalist here. But it is something to at least keep in mind. If all of the Phoenixes die, I mean, it'd be a pretty bad and weird play here for Reynor. But it is something that Protoss players are concerned with when you start losing all the Phoenixes. It is always something that might be in the back of your mind. Reynor trying to see if he can get a kill on this Nexus. It's a dangerous play, but he's honestly doing a really good job. Denies the base on the right once more. Can he snipe the base? I think he's gonna try. The Tempest here, the Mothership, all of it is working away at whatever it can hit. That's the Nexus falling a second time around over here on the low ground too. Nearly 17 minutes into the match, MaxPax has been reduced once more to basically no money. He has a bit of a bank. It's mostly minerals, so he can make a lot of Zealots, maybe some Interceptors and all the rest of it, and Carriers are indeed coming now. Nidus Worm inside of the main base, creating a distraction. But MaxPax still has this absolute blunt force of an army, right? And it may have gotten even scarier. He has been forced into what looks like an all-in. A recall right now as well towards the Mothership to bring in the reinforcing army. MaxPax is ready to put it all on the line. He knows he needs more mining. But since he is not able to really secure bases, his next best chance is to try and cut the Zerg player off of mining themselves. Nice counterattack here, though, by Reynor. Looks like one of the carriers is going to die just fresh out of the Stargate. Nexus over here is likely going to fall again, too. Which means that Reynor's only task now is to kill this army. And I say only task. That is easier said than done. He doesn't really have that really scary late-game Zerg ball yet, right? Like, we don't have any Spellcasters, no Vipers, no Infestors, no Neurals, none of that. It's this very mid-gamey looking army for Zerg going up against an absolute sledgehammer of a Protoss force. Still, you can always go for the counterattack too. Reynor is losing loads of bases of his own, but he is killing a lot of stuff. Oh my god, we recall back home? That I did not expect. MaxPax did get a few bases killed, but does this recall actually make sense for him? He's got no mining anymore. I guess he wants to max. Pax. No, sorry. I guess he wants to max out. 2 more carriers. Attempting to build another Nexus up over here, but he's only got 25 SCVs army-wise, and this is where the supply count can sometimes be a little bit deceiving. MaxPax has been leading as far as the absolute size of it goes. Plus, this is a proper tier 3 army, I would say. How many Templar do we have? Only 2. I guess he doesn't have a lot of gas, but this is a very scary, he agrees right now, makes a few more, but this is a very scary Protoss bowl. I don't think he needs to play this too slowly, though. Like, if he plays this super slowly, what little income Reynor has is going to work in his favor. Reynor now is getting some extra Vipers here, so he is getting a much more reliable late-game death ball for Zerg. Nexus over on the right side does end up falling. Once more. Interestingly enough, MaxPax has decided to split up his army. I guess he's got the recall available to send everything towards Mama yet again, but it does feel risky. Recall to the Nexus is currently not available. Nidus Worm inside of the main base has been spotted. Vipers, careful with those. Vipers are going to be hammered away at by whatever unit can reach them. Oh, we have a couple of abductions attempted too, but all the units were already dead. Counterattack in the meantime with about half the Protoss units though, and I love the lurker positioning, making it pretty much impossible for Protoss to actually break open their own bases. I mean, there's not that many ground units, I suppose, that he needs to worry about. Another Nexus does fall. Probes are hiding up north. I think Reynor is playing this out really, really well. Just across the board, absolutely textbook, right? I mean, we go for another recall back home. This actually could be scary. This is so many Protoss units. I don't know if Reynor saw the recall right now. He's trying to work away at those Skytossi units, but in the meantime, the rest of the Protoss army has also returned back home. Vipers are dying, Hydras are dying, Lurkers are falling too. MaxPax here ends up actually destroying all of these units here for Reynor. Reynor only had about half of his army present, so Reynor split up his units to deal with half the units of Protoss, but did not realize that the other half of the Protoss army then recalled back home and joined up with the first part. So Reynor ended up fighting half his opponent's units there. Or, no, all of his opponent's units there with half his army. That means that this is basically all that Zerg has. Did MaxPax just do the impossible? Did he actually just get the job done? This army here for Zerg looks terrible compared to that of Protoss. No way, dude. I mean, it's a nice Hydra dash forward. It's now finally a new base up and running right here for MaxPax. Nidus Worms are becoming too expensive. There's 4 Hydras. There's 4 Hydras to deal with all of these Skytos units. That's not enough. Oh, MaxPax. That's why he split up the units. He tried to get the invisible 1-2 punch done. It was his only way out of the game, and he achieves what he set out to. And that means it all comes down to this. Final game in this best of 3 series takes place on the map Tourmaline. Now I keep thinking about what StarCraft 2 characters would drive what cars. I feel like Donnie Vermillion would be like a Mustang guy. Wouldn't be surprised. Kate definitely is like an electric vehicle. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Manx probably drives something really fancy. Manx probably doesn't drive himself. Manx probably drives, like he has a driver and he's got like a Rolls Royce or something. He's too cool for driving. He's too busy for that sort of thing. The real difficult ones, though, would be like Stukov. What does Stukov drive? What about Dahaka? Can Dahaka even drive? Probably. He can figure it out. Isha? I mean, I think Isha is technically connected to the Leviathan, right? Maybe like a Lada for Stukov? Oh, makes sense. It would be kind of a cursed one, though. The wheels may be somewhat alive. Hard to say. What about Kerrigan? So Reynor obviously loves vultures, right? Like, Reynor definitely is... He's like a... He definitely likes motorcycles. I think I can see Reynor driving a motorcycle as his default. Dougal would definitely drive a French car. 100%. A Renault... What do you think of my French pronunciation? Renault. MaxPax opening up with a very normal build yet again, I would imagine. A Stargate. Right here. Right here. Oh! Ah, come on. Never lucky. Natural expansion here is going to be taken for Reynor eventually. No surprise there. Yet again, MaxPax decides to block the natural. Tourmaline is a pretty difficult map, I think, in general. It is wide open, many expansions, but the rush distance from natural to natural feels really short. Especially if MaxPax decides to take his third base over here. Suddenly, they're basically neighbors. MaxPax, though, usually prefers the slightly more safe approach. Really lovely game, by the way, that previous one yet again. And I wonder if Reynor is upset about that at all, right? Because it kind of feels like you're winning for like the first 95% of the match. But then it turns out the only thing that actually matters for the record is the last 5%, right? Like really not even the last 5%. The last 0.1% is the only part that's really important. Trying to get a kill again on the Adept. Okay, he gets it, but... 5 Zerglings for a single Adept? Is that worth it? Oracles yet again. First one's already out. Second one is going to be trying to protect the third. Notice how MaxPax this time around does not risk it. Second gateway this time. Extra gateway units this time. Before taking the third. Does delay the third by about 20 seconds, but it does make it all a lot safer across the board. Twilight Council here on the back of this. Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of car brands we don't even really have here. Like a lot of the big cars in the US, especially like pickup trucks. They're becoming slightly more popular over here, but we don't really see them all too much. And the same with like a whole bunch of brands. Things like Chrysler I never really see over here, I don't think. Maybe. Maybe I just don't notice. I read a Stephen King book recently. And he was bringing up a brand called, I think it's Buick? Is that how you pronounce it? Never heard of it. Had to look up what it was. Like, oh, okay. It looks like a car. That's what that looked like to me. See, maybe Donnie Vermillion would drive one. But I don't know. Not a thing over here, I don't think. Unless they go by different names. Like, that's also a thing where, like, brands do go into different continents, but they run entirely different names altogether. It's a bit weird. It's going to be Glaive to Depths, by the way, this time around for Max. So, a little bit of variety yet again. +1 melee this time, actually, for Reynor. So, +1 melee would be really nice against the Stalker follow-up that MaxPax has been showing so far in this series. Not quite. I think Stetman would drive a Prius. I think Stetman definitely is a Prius guy. 100%. Has to be. There's no... no, that's perfect. I am very uncertain about all of these, but I feel like Stetman is a Prius guy. 100%. Zergling counterattack over here on the right side. +1 melee not yet done. Adepts in the meantime moving out through the middle. We do not have a Roach Warren. We do not have a Bailing Nest. So Reynor is going to need a lot of Zerglings here to be able to deal with those Adepts. So far, the defense here from MaxPax is excellent, and the Adepts have arrived in a natural expansion of the Zerg. This can actually be an absolute disaster here for Reynor. Those Adepts are going to be able to gobble up the drones really fast. MaxPax not actually retargeting onto the workers, opting to go for the actual throat of the units instead. A little bit of targeting over here in the natural. 3 probes did die on the other side. So far, the drone losses have been kept to a minimal, but I'm a little bit afraid that, or to a minimum rather, but I'm a little bit afraid here that I, at some point, see the Adepts commit to a mineral line and then everything falls. Reynor trying his absolute hardest, and this is why skipping out the Roach Warren and the Bailing Nest can just be so risky. 10 drones have died. 4th hatchery, 5th hatchery, Oracles joining in. I mean, the base count is still good, but so much lost mining on the side of the Zerg. And now the follow-up here from Protoss is going to be good old Blink together with +1. We have seen MaxPax work magic with those units many times already. This would have been a brilliant game for Reynor if it was a Blink Stalker build. Admittedly, MaxPax does that strategy, I want to say maybe 90% of the time. Oracles into Blink Stalkers is his go-to. But these 19 Adepts that have died in this game have been incredibly efficient. 21 drones, 77 links, and on top of that, a ton of lost mining time as well. Fourth Nexus going up entirely unharmed. Stalkers have Blink. Charge on the back of this. An extra Oracle. Alright, I don't even mind it. I mean, if you know your opponent is going Mass Ling, you may as well. He must have seen the Baneling Nest as well, right? So, yeah, he saw the Baneling Nest over at the third, so he knows, yeah, okay, if there is any way back into this game for Max, or for Reynor rather, it's going to be through the means of Banelings, and that's what these guys are setting out to do. Nice little Creep Tumor Snipe here in the meantime. Stasis Ward in the back. These Banelings, they don't know it yet, but they basically need to win the game for Reynor. Adepts yet again at the third. MaxPax sees. And that was the easiest defense of his life. He's going to be able to kill the hatchery here in the middle. Transfusion is nice, but it delays the inevitable. Plenty of stasis wards on the back of this, so easy snipe for Max. Okay. And now what do you do here as Protoss? I think you can just go for the very slow, inevitable kill. He actually starts up a 5th Nexus. You know, things are dire for Zerg when Protoss takes a 5th before the Zerg does. Oh, he did cancel it just now. Zerglings are still scary, of course, with +1 melee. It does feel a little bit risky. I would not mind seeing Max go into like good old Storm here, or even Colossi. Like anything along those lines is good. Sticking around on just more of the same is a little bit complacent. Okay, yeah, there we go. We do go Robo Bay. I was gonna say, if you just double down on pure gateway units, I think there is a way back in this game for Reynor. This is certainly MaxPax's game right now to lose. Reynor, though, still getting a good bit of value. Bunch of additional drones do fall. We have a few of those Adepts going down south as well. Another snipe on the Nexus in the middle. The problem here for Reynor, though, is that he knows this. Protoss does not need 5 bases for any follow-up here. Be it Skytos, be it Colossus, be it Storm. All of those are reasonable enough on 4 bases. MaxPax will gladly take the 100 mineral dump when he has to cancel the Nexus over here. A lot of Zerglings are produced. And I actually like the lack of urgency right here from Max. He knows that he doesn't really need to commit. Like, he knows that it's going to be 4 base versus 4 base. That will treat him just fine. Zerg likely has less workers than him anyway, so why even risk it? +3 ground coming up. Yeah, Zerg doesn't have a lot of great comeback mechanics, right? Like, it's one of the things that I do believe is missing. There used to be many choices, but then it's kind of got ironed out over time. What do you do as Zerg if you want to try and come back? You don't really have much of a choice. I guess you can hope for a lucky Baneling roll by. You can maybe try and cross your fingers and hope your opponent makes a mistake, but there's just not really that much here that Reynor can do. It kind of feels like a very slow but inevitable death here for Reynor. And that will make this game even more frustrating, I think, for the Zerg. At least the Prism in the main base got denied. That's something. But MaxPax has got better economy, better upgrades, and a better army across the board. So why take a chance? Why risk it? Extra gateways coming up. Lurker Den coming up for Reynor. But this is going to be Lurkers, though, at Lair Tech. Lurkers on just 6 gas in total. I mean, honestly, this move out here from MaxPax is unnecessary, and it's making the game risky. I'm fairly sure, though, he could lose all these units and still be fine. There's a lot more units down south. Those Banelings, okay, get a pretty decent detonation, but that's still gas for minerals. And MaxPax has plenty of minerals. Building even another Nexus over here on the right. Baneling speed is now nearly finished for Reynor. That's nice, I suppose. But this is a dance with death. So wait, let me get this straight, right? Game number 1, Reynor absolutely destroys MaxPax. Game number 2, he wins like the first 90% of the game. And then he gets caught off guard by a really tricky play from Max. that does allow him the victory. And then we now find ourselves in game number 3. What did Reynor do wrong? He decided to skip out on the Roach Warren because he assumed it was going to be Blink Stalkers yet again. That's an ouch, I think, on the side of the Zerg. But a really well-played series here across the board by MaxPax, who gets the job done. Look, the end result is all that really matters, and he obtains the victory here, 2-1.